All right, welcome in. Week one is in the books. You're listening to the Naked Bootleg podcast. You're here with Michael Cuff, fresh off a Mexico cruise.
Yep, it was great.
What was the best part?
The food, the
food.
shrimp, the lobster. I gained 5 pounds.
Nice.
That was not so good, but
It wasn't being alone on a cruise with your wife or the beautiful sunsets or anything like that.
oh yeah, my wife was there too.
Food number one though.
Tyler Mitchell, you're here. Maybe he has a new job.
Not yet. We're going for interview number 4 this week with the current job.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's intense.
Who does that?
I feel like NFL teams that draft these guys don't even like interview these guys that much, or it's like, what are they doing?
That's true.
You should have handed $10,000 signing bonus.
And we got Ron here. Anything exciting in your life right now?
No, I mean, Mike's on a cruise. I'm just working from home, staring at the walls. Sucks. We walked open windows.
Yeah, I don't have a lot exciting, except we had family over on the first Sunday, so I'm like trying to be nice to my wife's family, yet I'm like looking at my phone the entire time and sneaking into the house watching football. I can't help it.
I will say one thing. First time my wife's ever been more excited to watch football than I have.
What?
13
Why was you
years
so excited?
Just that all our matchups were close. Like, so Sunday night, she's like, "We got to go grocery shopping. We got to get back by the time the game starts." I'm like, "I love you so much."
Way.
All right.
Wow, that's a
You
real
trained her
turn.
well.
Yeah, no joke. That's a winner.
Yeah, my wife I thought was going to like tear the TV off the wall for a second, and then the field goal barely missed, and it was pandemonium for the Seahawks on Monday night. But we'll get to that game.
My wife won the auction league last year, and she didn't even care about this first week. So I'm like, what the heck?
That's what she's gonna win it again.
I haven't asked. Does Michael have a favorite team? I've never asked.
Not really. I mean, I guess I like the Seahawks, but I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, you have Seahawks, Dolphins, Lions, and Steelers.
Oh my gosh.
That's an inside joke.
Your
Mitchell just
team
always.
pulled off an upset.
I'm not my team.
Can I say, okay, so that game, do you guys watching that where it was just mistake after mistake after mistake, kicking blunder, guy can't hike the ball, poor backup long snapper.
Burrow had like 5 turnovers.
Yeah, but then the Houston-Indy game ends in a tie. Like, that football's too high scoring for a tie. They need to figure out some way to do it. Like, I don't care if you have your quarterbacks do a long throw competition. Like, have someone win the game.
I feel like the Colts should just get a loss for getting in a tie with Houston. That should be like an automatic loss.
Yeah, no, totally. It's just, can we get rid of ties? Figure something out.
Do what college does. That's fun.
Yeah,
Start at the 25-yard line and
a lot more fantasy points if they did it that way. That'd be awesome.
Or kickers go back 1 yard, starting at the 55, and whoever keeps making them.
See, I'd watch that. That'd be exciting. And then you can have like.
I think kickers would be super valuable. You take them in the first round.
That's true.
You have DK Metcalf down there. If it's too low, he can swat it away. I don't know. Do something like that. Anyway, what we want to do today is overreactions, underreactions. We want to talk about first week takeaways. How are we feeling about certain storylines? Do you believe in it? Do you not? And I want to start with the guys who maybe underperformed. And are we worried about them, or are we feeling okay? And I think it's a good place to start with defending NFL MVP, 2-time MVP. He's won it 4 times. Aaron Rodgers. So he didn't look too sharp. What do you have, like 3 fantasy points or less? Yeah.
Just over 3.
We know he doesn't have many receivers to throw to, but 195 passing yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Let's start with Mitchell. How are you feeling? Is it just a 1 game nothing, or is this something to be worried about?
It's tricky because, like, I feel like every year, at least the last few years, he's always done bad the first game. Like, they got killed by the Saints last year. He didn't do good. But obviously this year's different. They don't have Adams. Even MVS is gone. They got rookies that can't catch the ball. I mean, but I believe in the Vikings. I know some of you guys do too. So, I mean, I think they're a really good team. But, yeah, I was worried about Rodgers before the year without Devontae Adams and those wide receivers. So, yeah, he's not someone I'm not really believing he can turn around too much. But I think he could be like maybe quarterback 10 to 15, but I don't think you can get higher than that this year.
Okay, so if you had him on your team, would you be looking to unload him if possible?
Yeah, probably not now though, because I feel like he has to have a good game again because you're going to be trading him at his lowest value right now, and everyone's thinking the same stuff. So once he has a good game, I would probably try.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
I actually just tried trading for him like a few hours ago, but I couldn't quite put a trade together. But no, I still 100% believe in Aaron Rodgers. I think he's top 3 or 4 quarterback of all time, and I will never doubt him. Probably, maybe when he's like 50. But, so I have no concerns at all with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, you're a believer. Yeah. Ron, what about you?
Yeah, I've been low on him the whole offseason. So I was avoiding him. I was like, Kirk Cousins is better. Like draft Matt Stafford, draft I don't care whoever's like going around him, like draft them. Maybe not Trey Lance now, but no, I just don't. The one thing I will say is I think this is really good for Lazard. So if nobody could catch a pass, I just could see him stepping in now. He missed the game and like.
Oh, you cut out.
I don't like Rodgers, but I don't like Rodgers, but I'm not worried about. I don't see him being. I see him being right around like 14th, 15th quarterback.
So yeah, same as Mitchell. I'll say that I was more of a believer heading into the season. After that game, I am more concerned. It's less about Rodgers. It's just more about his options that he has. And yeah, Lazard, maybe he can step up, but and obviously the rookies Dobbs and Watson will improve throughout the season. But I don't know. I think there's major holes on that offense, and they might rely on the running game a lot more. So yeah, I'm definitely more down on them than I was to start the season, and not fully a believer. So Michael, you can prove us all wrong. All right, I want to move to everyone's favorite, or if you're 12 years old or under, I have a 12-year-old. All he talks about is this team and this player, Joe Burrow, Mr. Cool. He had 6 turnovers, right? Or 5 or 6 turnovers. Yeah, 5 turnovers. Still put up an okay fantasy day because threw for 338 yards, 2 passing TDs. Kind of got bailed out at the last second by Ja'Marr Chase. What are you guys feeling? Michael, let's start with you.
I just believe in everybody, I guess. I 100% believe in Burrow. Like, he's just on my list of people that I just don't ever question. I already know he's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I don't question him at all. So,
wow.
But yeah. He's got everything. It's not just his mechanics, but he's got the mental side of things that I think sets him apart from everybody else, or from a lot of people.
Mitchell, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite. Kind of like the opposite of the Rodgers situations. I believe kind of in their weapons, but not as much in Burrow. And I wasn't that high on him going into the year, and because I think last year you only had like 3 great games, and then he just had a bunch of okay games. And so, I believe in his weapons, but I don't. I think he's just kind of about the same range as Rodgers, a little bit better, but he's not someone I'm super high on. But I think he'll do better, obviously, than what he did. He still ended up with 20 points, but just because they're in comeback mode the whole time and had to throw a lot. But yeah, I'm not as high on him as others.
Ron?
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty high on him because if we're talking about how bad he is and he scored 20 points, then man, that's good for me. So if that's his worst game of the year, then I'm all for it. So he's got the weapons, and they improved their line. They have to honor Joe Mixon running the ball. So I think he's going to do good.
Yeah,
I think there's more Pittsburgh's defense is really freaking good.
Yeah, I
think that was what I was going to say.
But I also think they're not going to be behind. I feel like in a lot of the games because I think they're better than a lot of the teams they'll play. But I could be wrong. But I think they had to throw so much.
Yeah, I think the Steelers' defense, especially T.J. Watt, was just and Minkah Fitzpatrick was all over the place too. Yeah, so I do think the Steelers are probably underrated on the defensive side of the ball. So I still believe in them, but I'm not going to be trying to get him in any trades. I guess is where I'm at. But I think that he can lead the team to a good record, I guess. So probably more high on him on if he was my actual quarterback of my favorite team rather than my fantasy quarterback. Well, let's talk about. Well, I know Ron, you and I both have this guy, Trey Lance. Okay, first game, it's a monsoon. Like to me, it feels more like you can't really take much away from that game at all. You can't even get a grip on the ball. It's just such an unusual type of atmosphere. But I'm still a little more down on him, and I think it's I'm hearing some people start to talk about Garoppolo a little bit. That he's still there, and when are they going to make that turn? And apparently, it sounds like his fundamentals are not great, to say the least. His footwork, his throwing pattern, everything like that. So I think I'm kind of down on Lance, even though I do think that's just a throwaway game. Don't even think about it. Ron, what are your thoughts now that you just traded for him in our league?
So, not gonna lie, I'm concerned. I didn't want to be concerned, but I am concerned. Like, you are right. That is somewhat of a throwaway game, but I don't know, man. He looked bad though. Even in that first half when the weather wasn't so bad, he was like overshooting people, and he just looked terrified. So I am concerned. But the one thing I'll say is that the coaching staff is watching him all in camp, and they're seeing what he's doing. And if his mechanics are terrible, I don't know why they would sit there and say, I ride this guy like I'm riding him. He's the starter. So I'm more concerned than I was, but I'm also not as concerned as most people, I would say. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Yeah, like you said, the first game with the conditions, I wouldn't really take anything from it. Also, Kittle didn't play. So he didn't have all his weapons, and just that rushing ability. It is such a cheat code thing for quarterbacks. And I mean, when he gets Kittle back, and with the weather being better in other games, I think he'll be all right. I wasn't super high on him going into it, especially once the Jimmy G news came out, because again, they lose a couple more games, and I mean, you never know. But I think, like Ron said, I think he's their guy still, and just got to take the conditions out of it, and I think he'll be all right. But I'm not super high on him, but I want to give him more time to see if he can change my mind.
Okay, Michael, your chance. Are you all in again?
No. Well, I wasn't super high on Lance to begin with, but I'm not that concerned about him. I do think it was a throwaway game. And then, you guys have mentioned Garoppolo. I think he has a really long leash, so I think they'd have to lose a lot of games for them to consider switching him out. Like, I don't see that happening this year. I see him finishing out the year as their starting quarterback, and I'm sure they'll get a couple wins with him over the next few games. So I'm not worried about him losing his role, but I think I just don't expect him to be like a top 10 quarterback necessarily. But
yeah, I agree with Mike too, because I don't think they're likely to bench him, because they spent they traded for him in the first round, gave a lot for him, and I feel like it just totally kills confidence at some point if they just bench him throughout this year. Unless he gets hurt, I don't see Jimmy G starting.
Yeah, I think there's a couple good points there. Number one, what you guys both were just saying is they traded a bunch of assets to move up to pick him at number 3, and Kyle Shanahan before the series said, Trey's our guy. And I have a feeling he doesn't want to eat his words and he doesn't want to look dumb, which is a terrible reason, but I still think he's got more security than maybe we think. It's probably more of a media storyline of saying like, oh, Jimmy G is sitting there, you went to the Super Bowl with this guy. And the other positive thing about him from a fantasy perspective is that he has a good rushing floor. So even if he doesn't do much in the air, I think you're still going to, not have too many bad games, in the below 10 points or something like that. So that's what we have going for him. I think the biggest risk is just if they call for his head and he gets benched, but my feeling is that that's not going to happen. Okay, I want to throw in 2 underperforming wide receivers next. Mike Williams for the Chargers and Allen Robinson for the Rams. We can hit them both at the same time. Mike Williams had 2 points and Allen Robinson had 1.7 points, something like that. Yeah, I don't even know if Robinson was thrown to except like once or twice in the game. Who are you more concerned about, and who do you think can bounce back? Ron, how about you?
Definitely more concerned about Robinson, in my opinion. I don't know. He just didn't look very involved. He didn't have a good year at Chicago last year, so maybe he's not as good as we think. Whereas Mike Williams, he always goes up and down. So, he always has some letdown games. With Keenan Allen possibly out a week or 2, I definitely think I'm not that concerned about Mike Williams. So he's proven he can, at least last year, that he was really good, whereas Allen Robinson did not do good last year. So
this is kind of who Mike Williams is, right? You're going to get these games, you're going to get some blow up games. And you just got to live with that. Yeah. Mitchell, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I'm more concerned with Robinson than Williams because, like Ron said, he's an up and down player. He'll have these big weeks, but then also he's not a high reception guy, so they'll have these weeks too. And it seems like, I mean, they do have more guys. It seems like they're spreading it around more this year, the Chargers. So that could be a little worrisome. But like Ron said, with Allen out, and that's just who he is. The big games and the crappy games. But with Robinson, it sounded like, from what I heard, like they kind of double teamed him or they bracketed him, so they had someone like over the top and underneath. So they kind of they knew Cooper Kupp was going to beat him anyway, so they kind of let him get his, and then just took Robinson away. So I'm wondering, I mean, it worked, obviously, which is weird because you usually want to take away the team's best player. But so I wonder if teams are going to do that because NFL is kind of a copycat league. So, and plus, I don't think Robinson just looked very good either. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but I think he still might be not as good as he once was.
What a strange strategy that was.
I know,
if they did that on purpose, I would say that's not a good strategy. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, when you think about like the way a quarterback goes through their rotations or like their options, it just makes sense to take away option 1 and 2. You know, take away option 1 first, right? Because they're in the pocket longer. They have to, you know, like it makes more sense taking away option 1. I think.
Well, haven't you heard like in basketball sometimes? I mean,
Let
this
the
is way
number one
back.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, just like let him get his, but don't let him. You know, I remember way back in the 2000s, they did that with Nash. Let him score as much as he wants, but take away all the other options.
Makes some sense in basketball, maybe, but I would say less so in football to me. But,
Yeah.
Well, and plus, I didn't think Allen Robinson was worth doing that to, but
Yeah, I know.
As a Blazer fan, could you imagine double CJ, let Dame get his? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Please do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You live in the past, Ron. CJ's not on the team anymore.
I know.
I agree with you guys. Roll with Mike Williams, but I still am a little hesitant on his boomer bust. I like consistency, unless he's like my wide receiver 3, something like that. Okay, you guys ready to move to guys who played well and maybe outperformed what they normally do? We got to start with Carson Wentz. Yeah, he's on Washington now. He's revived. You know, he's maybe went to some national monuments and he's got inspired. What do you think? I did not see any of this game. Just a few highlights. Well, Michael, you go first.
Well, he's on my list of not believers. So yeah, I don't believe in Carson Wentz, but
he had 35 points. I do not believe in that.
I didn't see the game though, and I'm actually cheering for him in real life, you know. But I don't. You know, I guess I haven't studied his game really well, but I think he's shown enough in his years in the NFL to prove to me that he's not a great quarterback. So
he threw an interception like 3 yards right to a defensive lineman. It was the number 1 pick this year, who I thought was going to be a huge bust, Trayvon Walker. What a way to start. But yeah, like literally just like right to him. That was one of the highlights I saw. Like, Ron, are you a believer?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
So it's kind of funny you say that because I think I listened to like Bill Simmons or somebody, and they were saying that like he is the best money like to watch. Like if you just paid like $20 to watch a quarterback, because he can literally throw the best pass you've ever seen, and then the next play he'll throw the dumbest interception, and the next play he'll like be all excited that he threw a 2-yard pass to somebody. But that being said, so I'm a believer that he's going to finish better than what I thought. So like not maybe like early 20s, but maybe he'll slip into the teens. But I'm not a believer that he's like gonna just go crazy and slip in the top 10. And they did play Jacksonville, and everybody scores against Jacksonville. So, and Curtis Samuel will get hurt soon. So
it's true. Mitchell.
Yeah, pretty much what Ron said. They played Jacksonville. He's playing his old coach, so maybe he had some extra motivation. And like also like Ron said, he's up and down. He'll throw a pick, like you said, for 3 yards, and then he'll throw a touchdown the next pass. So, but I do think he'll be a little bit better than I thought too. But still, like a mid quarterback 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I was in love with his ability to throw the ball, you know, like a million miles an hour. Like he just has all the tools, and I was like, oh, this guy, he's gonna be so great. And then slowly but surely, you're like, oh wait, he keeps making dumb decisions all the time. nonstop, holds on to the ball too long. Like, it's gonna happen again. I'm out. Sorry, he's gonna have a game like this every now and then, but I would bet that he's gonna have a couple more.
10 points next week or lower.
10, maybe 15 at most. And does a boneheaded play to lose the game for his team. So I'm out. Someone I'm in on is Saquon Barkley. Maybe he's not gonna be the number one. Was he the number one running back this week? I think so, right? But I think that he can be a player who you can rely on to put RB1 stats up. He 18 rushes, 164 yards, a TD, and a 2-point conversion. He's not going to be doing that every day, but I just feel like the team is going to rely on him a lot. I don't know. It just feels like one of those guys who's going to have that big redemption season, and people are going to doubt why they doubted him fast. Mitchell, what do you think?
Yeah, I've been believing in Barkley. I mean, he's in a contract year, and I mean, it'd be pretty. I think Mike said a couple episodes ago, it'd be pretty rare for him to miss. Crazy to miss three years in a row. But yeah, I mean, I definitely believe in him. He has the potential to be the number one running back. I mean, even on a bad team, just like McCaffrey can, and he's their best receiver too. So not just runner, but receiver as well. And I think the only thing that you got to worry about with him is injury, but you got to worry about that with everybody.
But more with him? Or about injuries more with him?
I mean, probably a little bit more, but I mean, he's worth it. I mean, you didn't have to take him in the first round this year, so.
Sure. Ron, what do you think? You like a little doubtful?
I'm just a little bit on the other side of I know he's going to put up huge numbers while he's playing, but I would sell high so fast if I had him. Like, I just have a feeling they're going to run him into the ground. They're going to give him the ball every down, and that he's going to get hurt. And he's proven that he's going to get hurt. And he's one of those guys that will like fight for every play, and you're like, just go down. Like, you don't need to fight for that extra half yard. He just scares the crap out of me. He's amazing. He's probably the most talented back in the league. I would just sell high if I had him because I'm scared he's going to get hurt. But.
Yeah, I get that too he's going to get all the work. But I think at this point, there's so many dang committees. Like, I'll risk the injury. Like, if he gives me 4 or 5 good games, that's 4 or 5 games I could win, and I'll figure out the rest later. But I get you with the injury part for sure.
I like your idea of selling high. I'm high on Barkley, but I still think, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, you may as well sell high if they're just playing out of their mind. And like you said, the injury problems. So.
But man, there's always that like, oh, what if he doesn't get hurt?
If he kills the year, yeah.
That's true. And you sell him in week 1. Yeah, for sure, it could be a league winner. Okay, we can maybe go a little quicker. Let's put Michael Thomas and Christian Kirk together. I know there are 2 different stories here, but Michael Thomas obviously comes back from 17 years on the injured list, it feels like. He comes back and has 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, what do you have? What did you say, Ron? 13
bunch of targets and receptions.
Targets.
6 catches, 100. I don't know how many yards.
117 yards.
12 targets.
Yeah, I believe in both these guys. Thomas with Jameis, he's going to wing it, and I know Olave there brings an extra target and a little trickery with Taysom Hill. You never know what the Saints are going to be doing. And Christian Kirk, they're going to treat him like he's the number 1 receiver, whether he deserved his money or not. I think that Lawrence is going to go to him. So those are 2 guys I would target if I could to try to get him. So I think they're going to keep up the production. Michael.
Yeah, I like both of these players. I mean, I like Michael Thomas a little bit more, probably more upside, but I like probably every week, but especially week 1, I look at the targets the most. So with Kirk getting 12 targets, that's a big number. That's like, wow, he's going to be a big part of their offense. Even in the Saints, Landry, I think, had more targets than Michael Thomas. I could be wrong, but does that sound right to anyone? Anyways, but yeah, I feel like his target share wasn't quite as good. But overall, I still would put Michael Thomas ahead of Kirk.
Mitchell.
So just ignore what I said.
No, I agree with both you guys, and I believe in both of them. And I mean, I believe that Thomas is going to be the better one and more upside. But yeah, I agree with Kirk too, because I mean, they're going to be losing every game. They're Jacksonville, so they're going to have to throw a bunch. And he's obviously the number one guy there. So, yeah, I like both.
Ron, how do you feel?
Well, Cal, you feel good. I know you were big on Kirk, so that's got to feel good.
Yeah.
I was big on both these guys before the draft, so I feel good about them. I mean, trading for Thomas now would feel kind of silly because he just got 2 touchdowns. But the one thing I liked about Kirk, though, is he was getting it everywhere. So he was getting like short passes, he was getting deep passes. It just felt like he was all over the field, whereas Thomas was kind of the red zone target. So you're gonna have to feel like maybe rely a little bit more on touchdowns with him. But I do feel like Jameis is going to target him in the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we stick in the NFC South, running back though, Cordarrelle Patterson. He had 22 rushes, 120 yards, a few catches, and a rushing touchdown. That was another one of my sleepers. So I feel good about it. It's time to gloat.
Yeah.
No, but I will say I'm a little bit concerned because the rookie running back, who I'm going to butcher his last name, Algier.
Yeah.
Was a healthy scratch. And then Damian Williams, who was the backup, went out pretty early. So he was their only guy. And so I don't know if he's going to get that same workload going forward. So obviously, I mean, I would not be expecting 21 fantasy points moving forward, but can he be 10 to 12 to 13, 14 pretty consistently? I think so. So I think you could start him as like RB2 or at least in the flex most positions or most weeks and feel pretty comfortable about it, which I think is above where he was drafted. Like, I think he was like RB 37 or something.
Yeah, he's way back there.
Yeah, so he was kind of picked as a RB3, RB4, maybe a flex for some weeks, but and honestly, in one of my leagues, I had Mooney in above him for like right until I watched pregame and I saw those sideline reporters getting just drenched. I'm like, all right, I'm switching them out. So thank God I did that. That probably won me the week to make that choice. Michael, how are you feeling about my boy?
Well, I got to eat my words because I was one of the non-believers in Patterson. Funny thing is, I like the way he runs. Like isn't he older? But I like the fact that I wish he would have gotten more of a shot when he was younger because he runs really tough, and I don't know, he's fun to watch. But if he keeps this up, he's a.
They had to play a receiver, and
yeah.
like maybe
kick returner, wide receiver.
Yeah.
And they just maybe never found out like, oh, let's stick this guy at running back. Yeah, he maybe doesn't look like Saquon Barkley with the big tree trunk thighs, but yeah, he's a runner. Give him the ball there. Sorry, Mike, I cut you off. Keep going.
No, you're good. But yeah, if he keeps this amount of touches up, he's going to be a league winner. So I'm definitely wishing I would have picked him in some leagues. So nice pick, Kyle.
Thank you, Mitchell. How are you feeling?
Yeah, that was another one that was not buying him early, but yeah, I think it's probably going to be similar to last year with the running backs they got, and they basically have the same offense besides obviously the different quarterback in London. But so I think he'll get a lot of touches. But I agree with you, Cal. Like, I wouldn't want him as my RB2, but like flex, yeah. I mean, and plus from where he was going in the draft, he's definitely, I think, a win.
Ron, are you gonna zag here and think of something different?
I was totally down on him too. So, but what you were saying, I feel like it solidifies that he is going to be good. Like Algiers didn't look that good to begin with, anyways. And then Williams going down, I feel like Patterson's like money now. So. Good choice, man. I think I learned to go with like starting running backs like in the later rounds more than the up and comers like that bit me in the ass this year. So to draft the Pattersons of the world.
The only thing that sucks is if they lose games, then I feel like that could hurt Patterson.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the Falcons might lose a few games this year.
But they lost a lot last year too, though, right?
He played well. Yep. Well, he could be a weapon in the receiving game too. They didn't have to use him in that way this time around, but. Well, speaking about up and comers, Ron, your boy Damian Pierce is his first name. Damian.
Yeah.
I got to learn these guys. Not quite as stellar of a performance as you were hoping. 4.4 fantasy points, 11 attempts, 33 rushing yards. What do you think, Ron? Let's start with you.
Definitely concerned. So if you drafted him as your starter, which I did the running back zero strategy. And hoped that he would just kill it. And I was so happy. Then you're feeling pretty shitty right now. If you drafted him as like fourth running back or third, you're not feeling so bad because I think he's going to be the running back one by the end of the year. You just got to wait it out. But for somebody that drafted him as their number one running back, I don't have time to wait that out. So that's kind of disappointing. So it really depends on what strategy you went. So I would say this is a great guy to buy low on if you're looking to buy somebody low and just hold on to him if you have a lot of running backs. But if you need a running back now, then you got to figure something out. So that's my mode right now.
Michael, what's your mode? How do you feel about Pierce?
Yeah, I like what Ron said. Ron's pretty smart. But I would say these teams are actually kind of similar to the Patterson. My comment with Patterson, if they lose a bunch of games, was more just about his age than anything. Like I feel like the bad teams are going to play the younger players. So why would it doesn't really make sense for Atlanta to play Patterson that much. It's the same with Houston. It doesn't make sense for them to play Burkhead.
Isn't he 32?
Even in week one, it doesn't make sense for them to play Burkhead. It's like they're not even necessarily trying to win games either. It's like just play your young players. It doesn't make any sense to do anything other than that.
I think Lovie Smith is an old school coach, and also they were saying I saw they don't Pierce isn't very good at blocking yet, so third down is probably gonna be Burkhead a lot till he figures it out in the NFL. So I mean I agree with Ron. He's gonna get more and more touches as it goes, and once he gets better at pass blocking. But right now he's not very good at it. So they don't want Mills to die.
Maybe see if they can win some games. See how it goes.
One thing I counter Michael on that is you got to remember there's a lot of people playing for their jobs. Not just guys on the field, but the head coach, these assistant coaches. So if they continuously lose, they're going to lose their job. And if your best option is to play Rex Burkhead or Cordarrelle Patterson, you might do that. Yeah. So unless the GM ships them out, I think the coaches try to go to win.
Yeah, you got to try and win at least the beginning of the year. You got to try and win.
It's so weird to hear Rex Burkhead is best option.
I told you we shouldn't talk about Rex Burkhead, and then here we are talking about him.
He's 32. He's 32, and I don't think he's ever played a full season, so it's only a matter of time.
Yeah,
Patterson or Burkhead?
Burkhead. He's 32.
Yeah, I think Patterson's 31, so kind of the same. With Pierce, Pierce is a guy that I think you got to watch middle of the season, and that maybe that's when he's going to start to perk up. So I don't know if I'd trade for him yet.
Yeah, and I think Indiana's run defense is pretty decent too. So I mean, I don't know what his stats were, but I think the targets and usage will go up too. So like Ron said, if you took him early, then yeah, it kind of sucks for right now. You can't really wait. But if you took him later, then you're fine.
Which, by the way, could you imagine being an Indianapolis fan? You're like, I've had every other year. Yeah, it's a different quarterback. I just can't imagine. They got Matt Ryan. It's
oh my God, they had Peyton. They had Peyton and Andrew Luck. They're fine. Stop whining. Be a Dolphins or Lions quarterback fan. Jeez.
Hey, we had Jay Fiedler.
What are you talking about?
Scott
Don't feel bad for the. Don't feel bad for the Colts. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They're doing it to themselves.
Peyton Manning, my boy, Peyton Manning. All right, last player I want to talk about, Aaron Jones. You guys concerned? He had 5 rushes? I'll say right off the bat, I know A.J. Dillon can get some touchdowns, but I think it's just going to be two-headed monster, and I don't trust it. Ron, what do you think?
Honestly, if I had Aaron Jones, I'd be pretty scared. I think Dillon played so good last year, and then Dillon looked better. Well, I mean, Jones actually looked pretty good, but I kind of feel like they're just going to go with the younger guy and start giving him more carries. So, especially if their season's starting to fall apart a little bit, or if there's questions. But I'd be concerned if I drafted Aaron Jones in the second round.
Michael, would you be concerned?
I actually tried to put together a trade for Aaron Jones. Actually, I think it was in our league, and the guy rejected it. But anyways, I wasn't high on Aaron Jones to begin with, but they're both it's about what I expect. I think 1 week one of them's going to do better, and then another, and I think there's enough to go around for both of them. I still believe in the Packers. I still believe that they're going to win a lot of games, and I think they're going to run the ball enough to feed both of them, and they're both going to get enough receptions. So I'm high on. I put them almost equally, and right now Aaron Jones had the worst week, so that's the person I would target. If Dillon had a worse week next week, I would target Dillon. I just target whoever is the lowest at the time.
Use one of them. Use a piece of that backfield. Okay. Which, by the way, you tried to make the trade with Brandon Baga, who I don't think has made a trade this decade.
Well, I tried trading him Tua because he had
Prescott.
So I tried trading him Tua and some.
He values his players like higher than God.
You
So
probably
don't
rather go
even
with one
I
quarterback.
think it's the only trade I offered in that league. I don't think I'm going to offer many trades in that league. I'm just going to chill.
Stubborn. All right, Mitchell, what about you? Aaron Jones.
Yeah, the same thing that Ron and Mike said. Like, I think each game is going to be different. And I mean, at the end of last year, the second half of the season, they pretty much split carries and catches and touchdowns. So, I mean, if you I wasn't high on Jones coming into the year in the second round. So if you drafted him there, I think it might be a little rough season because each game is going to be different. But if you got him a little bit later, then I think you'll be okay because you'll still have good games here and there. But yeah, like Mike said too, they're going to rely on the running game a lot. So he'll have his good games, but I'm kind of what I expected.
All right, moving to teams. Let's go to the Monday night game, Seattle and Denver. So what was the final score? 17-16?
Yeah.
And, like, Seattle fans are going nuts. You know, Geno Smith. Oh, this is great. It's like, you guys scored 17 points and they fumbled twice on the 1 yard line. This was a lucky win.
They scored
You know,
0 points in the second half.
Yeah, there were 3 total points scored in the second half, and
yeah, Denver like doubled them in
Denver
yards.
had 1 billion penalties on both sides of the ball.
Oh,
just a bunch of, and then obviously let's try to kick a 64-yard field goal, waste 25 seconds off the clock, and then don't trust Russell Wilson to make that
$1
play.
billion too.
I mean, it's so many dumb decisions. So I'll say that I think Seattle got lucky in that game. I still believe that Denver will be 500 or better this season. And, you know, I think Seattle wanted it. Like, they wanted to prove that they can win without Russell Wilson. And so to me, I would still believe in Denver and just know that Seattle doesn't quite have the talent. So I would not be all of a sudden saying, no, I think they're, you know, could maybe sniff at the playoffs. I'm still down on them. Mitchell, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I think, like you said, they got lucky. That was their Super Bowl of the season. And I mean, they might not win a couple more. I mean, they might win a few more games, but that's it. And then Denver, I think it's their first game altogether, and new quarterback and new coach and everything. So I think they'll figure it out and still be a good team. And I think for fantasy, like, I kind of like what I saw. I think Metcalf, I feel a little bit better about him. I mean, not like super high, but better. Penny looked good, but Walker's going to come back, so I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm not very high on Lockett just because he doesn't get very many targets and receptions, especially with Geno there. Denver, I mean, it's good. I like the 2 receivers they got with Sutton and Judy, and the running backs. They kind of knew that Gordon was going to be involved. I'm hoping as it goes, though, he gets less and less because obviously I took Javonte Williams in the 3rd round in our first round in our league. But yeah, I think Denver will be fine.
Ron, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so I was, when we did our like over-unders, I did pick Denver under. So they can't lose games like this. That's a big loss. That was a really big loss. So I'm going to go on the limb and say that Denver doesn't make the playoffs. You know, I know you guys are probably going to disagree, but I mean, not everyone come out of that division. And so I don't know. I'm just a little worried that maybe they're going to commit a lot of penalties and just do dumb stuff. And they're going to keep a running back by committee for no dumb reason when they should give Javonte Williams the ball every time.
That guy's a stud.
He's a stud, but
he's so much better just watching him.
I don't know. I don't
angry.
believe
It's like
coaching
crazy.
And I just felt like they were locking up Sutton really well. Like they were throwing the deep ball to him, but getting in his face and like, I don't know, man. I don't believe in Seattle at all, but maybe I'm a little less on Denver than I was before.
That's fair.
Did you see the interview with the Denver coach afterward? My wife came in and was like, it's like he's coked up or something.
What was his reasoning for the field goal?
What was it? Like, he was just planning all along to kick that, and like he was happy that they called timeout because it gave him a chance to see, you know, he had the leg to do it. It didn't really. It was nothing about Wilson. It was all about like, I know my kicker can make that. It's like, that'd be the 2nd longest field goal in NFL history. You know your kicker can make that.
If you're going against the Lions, maybe, but
Just
don't even bring that up. Okay. How about?
You didn't ask Mike what he thought.
Yeah, I'll
Chime in.
go. Yeah. Oh no, you're good.
I don't need to call you. It's not. This isn't school. You know?
Oh, yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, I would say I like Seattle. I like Geno a lot more than I did before. Watching that game, I'm like, okay, Gino, I feel like I underrated him. I mean, obviously he's not really much of a factor in fantasy, but it definitely ups Metcalf for me and Penny, like seeing how many carries he got. So I think there's some assets there, and I wouldn't mind starting Gino if it was a good matchup. I like taking risks with quarterbacks every once in a while, and then but I still believe in Denver. Like I think that was like worst case scenario, and they should have won anyways, even worst case scenario, but. Javonte Williams is like watching him play. I'm like, I'm already willing to say
Get a boner
like,
every time he runs, man.
he could be like up there close to McCaffrey as far as skill goes. Like him and I thought him and Swift really stood out to me. Just like they're so talented, that, and they just don't get all the carries. And just I wish they would, but anyways, I still believe in Denver.
Yep. Well, we'll see. We'll check back in on them later this year and see if Ron's right. Okay, how about pretty briefly, Philly? I didn't see much of the game. They had a big lead and then ended up pulling out by 3 against the Lions.
Never.
Some people think they think the Lions. Otherwise, you end up like Michael with multiple kids. Maybe the Lions are actually going to be a decent team this year, but I don't know. People are putting Philly in as a Super Bowl contender. I don't know if that's how I feel after the game. Ron, do you feel differently?
I don't have much to say about this game. I thought it was going to be a close game and a high-scoring game. It went exactly like I thought.
You're a genius. Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm a believer in Philly, even after this game. I mean, I think Detroit's like a competitive, hard team to blow out. So, and that was Philly's like first game with all their guys, and I was impressed with AJ Brown. Like I wasn't sure what to expect from him this year with how much Philly would throw and stuff, but he had like pretty much the majority of their yards and targets. So, if you're a Devontae Smith owner, you might be a little worried because I don't know if he's going to have. Yeah, and what's that?
He didn't even have a target.
Yeah, he had 0. And then also the running backs there, like, it's like a carousel because they all got like a touchdown in that game. But I kind of game like Ron kind of like said, kind of what I expected. I thought it'd be close because I think the Lions are going to be better than last year, and yeah, I still like Philly a lot.
Ron, Devontae had 4 targets.
But 0 catches, 0.
No catches though. Anyway, Michael.
Yeah, I agree with the Devontae Smith being out. The only way he'd have any value is if there was an injury to AJ Brown, but no, I'm completely done with Devontae. And then, but yeah, I think the Eagles were what we expected. I do like the Eagles. I feel like I should, but I did pick the Cowboys over the Eagles in our little draft, and that's going to go horrible. I've already lost, I feel like, because of that, because Cowboys are going to have a losing record. Anyways, but I'm over it.
I will say I didn't talk about this game, but I did. I was all in on the Eagles, but it's just the game went exactly like I thought, so I didn't.
Yeah. Well, let's move to the Cowboys. They would look bad with Dak in there, and then when Cooper Rush went in, it was like, oh, they have no chance. Like he can't do anything.
Well, it's funny because last year he had a game. He played a game and he actually did good. He had 326 yards and 2 touchdowns and a pick. But yeah, I'm not buying it obviously. And they had Cooper and their offensive line was better then. But yeah, they're going to be a disaster for a while.
Yeah, this is really bad for them. Any chance that they can make the playoffs now?
Nope.
But give me a break. There's so much news out there like, oh, they were horrible even with Prescott. It's like, give them a break. They're playing Tampa Bay. It's not like Brady was doing any better. It was like 6-3 in the fourth quarter. It's like, what are you guys talking about? Like Cowboys Prescott would have been completely fine if he was healthy. Like I'm not saying, I know you guys weren't super high on him, but it's not like he's gonna totally flop. He's been in the league long enough to know what he's doing.
No, but I do think their situation's worse. Obviously, like that with the wide receivers that they only got Lamb pretty much, and then their offensive line, like I don't think he's
the offensive line, maybe, yeah.
Losing the lineman, man, killed them, and then they didn't address the second wide receiver, so everyone's going to double, triple team Lamb. It's bad.
I don't think Lamb is a wide receiver 1. Like,
that's what people are saying.
He's that streaky guy. He's almost like Mike Williams, maybe a better version of Mike Williams, but you don't want him as your first receiver. Like, you have a smile.
You guys are crazy, yeah.
But people say stuff like like they'll watch guys like Cooper Kupp will get open and like Justin Jefferson will get open when every team like teams are double, triple teaming them. They'll find a way to get open. Like Lamb's not finding a way to get open. I don't know. Maybe he's not as talented as we think.
Get ready for a big Dalton Schultz.
Well,
year.
the bad thing is we won't know until like next year on Lamb. Like,
true.
how can we even test this out?
That's a good point.
Any chance Dallas tries to get someone besides Cooper Rush? Will they go for Jimmy G?
I saw that they are not going to because it sounds like, I mean, this is coming from Jerry Jones, so who knows? But he said it's not going to be the 6 to 8 weeks. They're not going to put him on the IR, so it's not going to be So they're expecting him within the next 4 weeks. So, but Wilson came back from the injury last year, and he wasn't very good the first couple games back. So who knows? Yeah.
Well, I have Ezekiel Elliott in the league, and this will not do him any favors.
Yeah, their whole offense is pretty much ruined now. I mean, Lamb, the running backs, Schultz might be the only guy that benefits because probably just short passes to him.
Yeah. All right. The Green Bay Minnesota game. It was pretty much a blowout. I mean, I think we're all kind of high on Minnesota, so I don't know if we need to talk about that much, but I could see him going, win the playoff game or two. I don't know if I'd see them in all the way to the Super Bowl, but there's no NFC team really sticking out. It feels like. So I don't know. They could be for real. Green Bay. I was talking about with Rodgers. I'm a little concerned. So I might be rolling back my Green Bay winning the NFC North a little bit. You guys have thoughts on that? Michael, looks like I saw some things going through your mind.
Oh no, it's a blank slate over here. But no, I would say like my whole idea of the NFL is that it's not about skill. It's just about opportunity. So like when you're talking about the Green Bay wide receivers, they did what we expected them to do. They were rookies. They weren't on the same page as Rodgers. I'd give them a couple games before I make any judgments there. But the NFL is not about talent. There's tons of talented players. Green Bay can get their hands on talented wide receivers. Like, it's not about talent. It's about opportunity. They have Rodgers. Rodgers going to make it work. That's what I'd say.
Wow. I like that. The NFL, you don't win games with talent.
Is that Aristotle down there?
Yeah.
Philosophical? I like it.
Ron, do you agree? You don't need talent to win in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, but not as much as he's saying. Like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is probably the most talented quarterback there is. So, like, if you look at the way he throws the ball, like, it's just insane. But no, I will say that like I picked Minnesota to win the division. I've been high on them. I'm low on Green Bay. I picked them not even to make the playoffs, I believe, if we did our bold predictions. So, which I don't know anyone else that's saying that, but I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that this is the year where like Aaron Rodgers just snaps. He's like, F all these young guys. This is bullshit. Why didn't you give me some help? Like, I'm done. He just like checks out. And like, I don't know.
Quitting.
But I'm more high in Minnesota than anything. Like I told you guys, my biggest dark horse for MVP is Kirk Cousins. So like take that at like 5,000 to 1 or whatever it was. Like they just put it all together and like win the division and win like 12, 13 games. Like, and he gets MVP. That's a nice payout. I could see it happening in that high-paced offense, but
yeah,
can I say that quarterbacks need to be talented? I'm gonna go back.
Kirk
I know you weren't saying that. I was making it sound more ridiculous than it was.
Yeah, I think Jefferson could be the MVP. He's so dang good. But yeah,
one play he was like 20 yards open. It's like
how is he doing? Yeah,
he's so fast though. He glides.
Yeah, he's a freak.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with Ron though. I was high on Minnesota going into it, not as much on Green Bay, and yeah, I'm sure the minute that Adams announced that he was leaving, I'm sure Rodgers just drank the whole day. Just like, why did I come back to this? I'll eat the whole crap. I'll eat the whole. But yeah, I agree with Ron though. I'm high on Minnesota, and I think they'll be good, and definitely down on Green Bay. But I think they'll still be okay, and could maybe finish one of the last playoff spots. But I wouldn't be shocked if they don't make it either.
Yeah. Okay. Another NFC team that I was high on. We don't have to talk too long about this because we kind of covered it with Trey Lance, but San Francisco, say it's kind of a throwaway game. But they didn't show much. And I don't know. Talking about, that's a bad loss like Denver. This is a bad loss for San Francisco. But maybe it's just like you can't take anything away from that. I will say using Debo a little bit more as a running threat was surprising because all summer we heard, nope, not running the ball. I'm not a running back. I'm a wide receiver. And then they're like, well, here, we're doing end arounds and short little shovel passes. You guys concerned? I'm going to say I'm not too concerned. I think it's a game that I'm not taking much away from it. Mitchell, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just funny. I was just thinking, like, man, Seahawks are first place right now. I know it's only 1 week, but they're 1-0 in that division, and all the other 3 teams are 0-1. But yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. I'm not concerned with the 49ers. I mean, they got a good coach, and Kittle will come back, and they're always gonna have a good running game, even if Mitchell's out for a few months. Like they're gonna have someone else come in, Wilson, whoever, and I think they'll be fine.
Ron?
I'm concerned because I picked them to make the Super Bowl, so I was I am concerned now. My thought was that they are always the most injured team, and like this year they'll be healthy, and they're already battling so many injuries. It's like, what the hell? What the hell's in the water down there? What are they doing when they're training, man? I don't get it. So now that they're already battling injuries, I am concerned, and I don't know, man. I'm backing down a little bit on my stance on them.
Yeah, I will say, how do so many guys get hurt for week 1? Your whole point is keep your guys healthy. I don't get it. Mike.
How's their line? Did they have injuries in their line or no?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
I'm not worried about them, but
they always have injured guys.
Game.
So I don't know.
I don't have much to say.
Okay, my last team that I want to talk about, then we'll wrap this up. The Rams. That was a long time ago, that Thursday night game. 31-10. Are the Bills that great? Are the Rams on a Super Bowl hangover? Stafford hurt? I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a little concerned, but I still think they make the playoffs and contend for the NFC Championship. Cooper Cup's too good.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? Oh, Mitch, go ahead.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I feel like, their division's not very good besides the 49ers. And I think, like you said, it's a mixture of all that stuff for that first week. I think the Bills are really good and maybe a little bit of being the Super Bowl hangover. But I think they're too good not to figure it out. I am a little concerned their offensive line's not very good. And hopefully that can get better. And, but I think I think the NFC is so wide open, like we've talked about, that they'll make the playoffs. And I don't expect them to repeat or get to the Super Bowl again, but I think they'll be fine overall.
Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be fine. I don't know how good their offensive line is. It didn't look good in the running game, that game. But so do you guys know, is their offensive line pretty good? Or
I don't think so. They lost the old guy.
Yeah. Whatever his name was. So no, it's not as good as it was last year.
Yeah. But no, I'm not worried about him.
Okay, Ron.
I'm a little more worried than I was. So I do think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to go far. Couple of reasons. One is the running game just seems like crap right now. Just looks terrible. And then, man, I don't know. Just like watching Cooper Kupp this last game, I'm terrified for that guy. I think he's going to get freaking murdered this year. Like every time he catches a pass and he runs super far, he's like breathing and his hands on his knees and like he's doing everything. I just have a feeling he's going to get either hurt or he's going to be so tired he tears a hand, hurts his hammy or something. He just looked like he was running for his life out there and the only guy trying. It was kind of scary.
He's pretty durable, right? Or has he had some injuries?
He had an ACL.
He has had some injury history a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Are they just going to rely on him way too much and just run him to the ground?
Well, did you guys see Stafford's no-look pass? That was so dumb.
I didn't see it.
He looked off the defense and then threw it like that to Cooper Kupp over the middle, and it went over, it hit his tips of his fingers, and then.
Mike, you weren't the only one who didn't see it. Neither did Stafford. He wasn't looking.
It was an interception though, and they showed it. He tried to look off
no way! Oh my gosh!
It's I know Mahomes can throw some of that stuff, but it's guys, you're not Mahomes.
Especially when you have hurt elbows. What are you doing?
Yeah, look at where you're going. All right, any last minute things we didn't talk about for week 1?
Boobs.
The Patriots are really bad.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see them be bad.
And I was right, Cal. The Dolphins are better than the Patriots. You can admit it. Come on. I want to hear it.
I'd probably roll that one back. I would say I'll say this: the Patriots are worse than Dolphins. I won't say the Dolphins are better than someone else.
I'll take it.
Hey, Mitch, I think you've been keeping track of this. How are we doing with our our bets.
So the team standing. So the first week, Mike is in first. He's 5-3
Fluke.
with 13 picks, even with the Cowboy pick.
That won't last. Yeah.
And then I am second right now, 4-4, and then you guys they both had a tie. So you're 3-4-1 both, you and Ron.
Ugh, tie. So dumb.
Yeah.
That is dumb.
I know that's
All
probably one of your few wins for the Seahawks, Cal, and it was against your own team.
I know that sucks. All right. Well, this is fun. Welcome back, Michael. Good luck adjusting back to real life.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
All right. Well, this is fun. Let's do it again next week. We'll probably put some little twist on talking about the NFL. Maybe start talking a little bit of basketball. It's coming up. It's like a month away from.
Yeah,
tip-off.
training game
It's
starts
crazy.
soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Play us out, Michael.
Boop-a-doop-a-doop-boop.